The world has a strange way of bringing strangers together at the exact moment one heart is breaking and another is trying its best to survive. On a bright morning in Portland, Oregon, one that should have felt safe, warm, and ordinary, a young woman named Claire found herself frozen on a sidewalk, surrounded by men whose intentions felt anything but harmless. And just a few steps away, a single dad named Marcus, who had learned the hard way what fear looks like in another's eyes, felt something inside him snap as he saw her silently pleading for an escape she couldn't voice. If you believe in kindness, humanity, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to support more stories like this. Marcus had been walking his 8-year-old son Noah to school, their usual morning routine, filled with chatter about math quizzes and baseball practice. But this morning, Marcus noticed Claire before Noah did. A trembling young woman clutching her bag to her chest, her breath quickening as 3 men stepped into her path. Their stance wasn't violent, but it was predatory. Leaning forward, smirking, blocking her from passing. The world around them carried on, cars moved, people scrolled through their phones, and yet Claire's fear sat trapped in the sunlight, unnoticed by everyone except Marcus. Claire had already been having one of the worst mornings of her life. After waking up to a message from her landlord demanding overdue rent she didn't have, she'd rushed to her part-time café shift only to find it canceled because of low customer turnout. Feeling useless, invisible, and one step away from losing everything she was trying to hold together, she took the long walk home to clear her head, but trouble found her anyway. Life had been unfair to her before, but this moment, being cornered on a public sidewalk with no strength left to defend herself, felt like the cruelest blow of all. Marcus knew that feeling too well. He had experienced powerlessness years ago, when his late wife Hannah had fallen sick unexpectedly, and he couldn't save her no matter how many nights he spent praying. Losing her had carved a wound so deep that some days, even breathing felt like lifting stones. But since then, raising Noah alone had taught him something important. When you see someone drowning in fear, you don't walk away. You step in, even if shaking, even if unsure, even if the world tells you to mind your own business. Because he had once wished someone would have done the same for him and Hannah. Without breaking stride, Marcus placed a steady hand on Noah's shoulder and guided him behind him, telling him quietly to stay back. Noah nodded, already understanding from his father's tense shoulders that something was wrong. Marcus stepped forward, his heart pounding but his purpose sharper than fear. Claire was staring at the ground, her eyes darting, her fingers shaking dangerously, as though she was 1 second from breaking down. And Marcus knew that kind of trembling, that helpless moment when your body betrays you because the world feels too heavy. He stopped a foot away from her, extending one arm slightly in front of her in a protective gesture. The men looked up, surprised but not intimidated yet. But Marcus wasn't bluffing. He stood tall, shoulders squared, voice steady but low as he demanded space. Not with threats, not with aggression, but with a conviction so sharp it sliced right through their smug arrogance. Something in his stance, something in his eyes, made the men hesitate. Maybe they realized he wouldn't step back. Maybe they realized he wasn't alone. Or maybe they finally saw Claire as a human being instead of an easy target. Whatever it was, one by one, they backed away. Not apologizing, not ashamed, but defeated enough to disappear. When the street finally felt safe again, Claire found herself standing there in silence, unable to keep her tears from spilling. Shame mixed with relief, and she dropped her gaze again, embarrassed that strangers had seen her, afraid Marcus didn't ask her what happened. He didn't interrogate her or make her feel small. Instead, he simply guided her a few steps away from the spot, ensuring Noah was close but out of earshot, giving Claire a moment to breathe. The warmth of his presence alone felt like the first shelter she'd had in weeks. Claire confessed in shaky breaths that she had no family nearby, No real friends left after losing her job, and no one in Portland who even knew she existed. She didn't know what hurt more. The way the men had cornered her, or the fact that not a single passerby had stopped. Marcus listened quietly because he knew brokenness when he saw it, and he also knew that sometimes being listened to could save someone more than anything else. Noah gently approached then, offering Claire the tiny granola bar he usually saved for recess. Claire had never seen a child look so empathetic. It made her cover her face and sob. Soft, painful sobs that carried months of exhaustion. Marcus put a careful hand on her back, not too close, just close enough to remind her she wasn't alone. As they walked her to a nearby café to sit down and gather herself, Marcus realized something surprising. In Claire's shattered voice, he heard echoes of his own loneliness. In her tired eyes, he saw the same heaviness he carried around after Hannah died. It didn't make him pity her. It made him understand her. And because he understood, he couldn't walk away. In that quiet cafe corner, Claire admitted how close she was to losing everything. Her apartment, her job search efforts, her sense of hope. She hadn't eaten since the previous night, trying to save money. Marcus didn't lecture her. He didn't judge her. He simply ordered her food and told Noah to pick out something for her to drink. It wasn't charity. It was humanity. As Claire ate, she confessed something even deeper, that she used to believe in kindness, in good people, in small miracles. But life had stripped those beliefs from her piece by painful piece. Marcus, hearing those words, felt a familiar ache. He too had once lost hope. But seeing her in this moment reminded him why he'd fought so hard to rebuild his life. For Noah, and for himself. When Claire finally stopped shaking, she whispered that she didn't know how to repay them. Marcus told her she didn't need to repay anything. Sometimes, life gives you strangers who hold you together for a moment. Not because they owe you anything, but because someone once held them together too. But Claire's story didn't end there, and neither did Marcus's. Over the next few weeks, their paths crossed again and again. Claire found comfort in talking to Marcus. Feeling safe for the first time in months, Noah adored her, asking about her during homework time, insisting they bring her muffins from the bakery they visited every Saturday. Slowly, Claire found strength. She found laughter again. She found hope again. And Marcus found something he didn't expect. Light. After years of raising Noah alone, dragging himself through grief, and believing that love had abandoned him, he began to feel something shift. Claire didn't replace Hannah, nor was she meant to, but she brought warmth back into his life. She brought presence, connection, possibility. One evening, after a long talk in the park, Claire confessed quietly that his kindness had changed her, that he had reminded her people still cared, that he had shown her the kind of love the world forgot to teach. Marcus didn't respond with words. He simply held her gaze, letting his heart speak in the silence between them. Their story became one of healing. Two people wounded by life finding comfort in each other. Claire grew stronger, more confident. Marcus became happier, more open. And Noah, with innocent clarity, saw what they both feared to voice, that they were becoming a family long before they realized it. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, and share to support more emotional stories. Before the ending, tell viewers to comment. Comment below. Should Marcus and Claire's story continue in more episodes? In time, Claire found stability, a new job, and a renewed sense of worth. Marcus found courage to love again. And on one quiet evening, with Noah laughing beside them, Marcus gently took Claire's hand, not to rescue her this time, but to walk forward together into a life they both finally felt they deserved. And somewhere deep inside, Claire knew. She wasn't blocked anymore. She was finally free.